With just 10 days to go until Christmas Day, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome all of you back again, and the amount of people who are listening to the readings from Carmen's Legacy is staggering. And as we kick off this recording, I would like to point out some beautiful people to you. There's Michelle and there's Carmen. They're on a flight to Queensland together with the rest of us, of course. There's our four girls, Michelle, Katrina, Jasmine and Carmen. Here they are again, a little bit younger, Michelle, Katrina, Jasmine and Carmen. And here they are with the Miller girls. They were 8 magnificent cousins all together. So the Mars and the Millers were always getting together. And today I read from chapter 8 of Carmen's Legacy. Michelle wrote this chapter. I asked Michelle if she would read it for us, but she said she wasn't up to it, and I don't blame her. It's a pretty tough thing for her to do. So chapter 8, Michelle's Memories, written by Michelle. Pressing my hands on the glass window, looking in, I could see Carmen wrapped tightly in a hospital blanket. All I wanted was a little brother. As I already had 2 sisters, I thought a brother would have been a nice change. That thought evaporated though, as I had my own real-life baby girl doll. I can remember thinking how much fun it was going to be dressing her up, giving her baths and helping Mum. I was only 6 years old, but I melted at the sight of her. As the years went by, I found myself quite protective of Carmen. Being the youngest, she was a baby for a long time. At night we all struggled with nightmares, and Carmen would jump into bed with me, while Jasmine would jump into bed with Katrina. This only stopped when I was about 14 years old, making Carmen 8 at the time. We were all very close. We had the odd Barney at times, but all in all, we were best friends. The years began to blend, and time was flying. Suddenly, life changed. I was home with my sisters and a good friend. Dad had left to go to a cricket club function, as they had celebrated the cricket club finals that they had just won. I answered the phone to be told by a family friend that Dad had been involved in a serious car accident and that he was still trapped in the car. I remember screaming and dropping the phone. That afternoon we learned that Dad was freed from the wreck but had serious facial injuries. The following day we were able to see him, but he had facial surgery and had a face full of plates and screws. After the accident, Dad was so swollen and bruised I found myself in a state of shock, thankful to have him alive but scared to look at him. I didn't want this for my dad or our family. Life was suddenly different, as Dad had short-term memory problems, a legacy of his car crash which made him difficult to live with at times. We all stuck together and helped him through it. After all, it wasn't Dad's fault his life had been turned upside down. I had my 21st birthday party at home, which was a blast. Things were settling down at home and Dad was adjusting to his new life. Unable to work due to his injuries, the only positive was that he could watch movies over and over as he couldn't remember them. I had no idea that a brain injury could be so challenging and change a person so much until it happened to Dad. During that year of 1993, I moved out of home to be closer to work and to have some independence. I soon realised that I was a rotten cook, hated washing my own clothes, and I needed to budget down to the last cent. I got a second job to help with the budget and went on a good holiday. After a year, I decided that I would move back home to save money and to go overseas to visit my best friend Paula. I'm sure most children in their 20s do this at some stage. Moving back home in 1995 was wonderful. I loved the open space and the smell of eucalyptus in the air. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of over 4 years and although I was going to miss our beautiful relationship, I felt it was for the best. Our lives were going in different directions, and mine, hopefully, was going overseas. Although Katrina was living in Sydney by then, and Jasmine had entered university in Geelong, Carmen was still at home. I was only home for 2 days when Carmen surprised us by coming home with a kitten, Tex. He was a ripper, fluffy and cute. It was nice to sit and reconnect with Carmen after having been out of home for so long. Nothing had changed us. We were still mates, but now both of us worked full time. Carmen at the Eagle Hawk Hot Bake, me still hairdressing. We chatted about work, how great it was to have our own money and to be part of people's lives. Carmen enjoyed chatting to customers as much as I did. I felt I had left home when Carmen was still a little girl, and when I moved back, she had grown into a beautiful young lady, and I told her so. They were precious days, 6 in total.